This is Rick Rule for Rule Investment Media, sponsors of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium, July 7 through 11 in Boca Raton. Whether you are attending live or whether you're attending live stream, we're going to give you 50 hours of programming in 4 days, more than you can absorb. Remember, the tapes are important. Remember, too, that we're interviewing every exhibitor and every speaker before the conference so that you can allocate your time before, during, and after the conference more efficiently. Remember, too, that every public company exhibitor at the conference is owned in accounts owned and managed by me. No suggestion, sadly, that because I own a stock that it goes up, but there is a suggestion that every single exhibitor has been vetted, unlike most other investment conferences. As part of this process, the pre-conference interviews, today I have the pleasure to interview a friend of very long standing, Rick Van Nieuwenhuyse, who I've known for the better part of 2 decades. Rick, first of all, thank you for your efforts on behalf of shareholders over 2 decades, and thank you for your support of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium.
It's great to be here, Rick, and good to talk to you again.
Let's talk something about your background, Rick. I've known you all the way back to the Placer Dome days, but you've been a busy man for the last 3 decades. So tell us something about your past endeavors, your past successes, and why people should care about what you have to say about Contango.
Well, they say you can bet on the horse or bet on the jockey, and I've got a strong background in Alaska. I've worked for Placer internationally, so I have spent a lot of time overseas as well. But I learned a lot about business working for a big company, and decided to reach out on my own and started NovaGold, which was a well-known company, very successful in terms of exploration. And we found Donlin, one of the larger gold deposits in the world, good grade. We also repeated that story with our work at Galore, and then at Ambler in the Ambler district. So we have a nose for ore. I think I'd characterize myself that way. I know what an ore body looks like, and I know what it takes to get it from an exploration stage to the point where a major will want to do something with it. And that's a big part of the game. We've modified our approach with Contango a little bit, but maybe we can say that for another question.
Well, let's get to that question right now. The point is that you've enjoyed a past track record of success, both with majors and with juniors, but in particular, the success that you've enjoyed is appropriate to the task at hand, given that what you've done for a very long time is explore for and develop gold and silver properties in Alaska. And lo and behold, what you have the good sense to try and do today is something you've prepared your whole adult life for. So let's talk about Contango. First of all, there's 2 assets in Contango. Tell us something about them and tell us what you hope to do to beneficiate them.
Yeah, so Contango has our Manh Choh asset, which we discovered. It's a 1 million ounce gold deposit, very high grade. It's on lands owned by the Tetlin tribe. And I'll just take a minute to say I have worked a lot in Alaska, so I know a lot of the Alaska Native community, both the tribes that govern the areas, and then the Alaska Native corporations that in a lot of cases own the land and selected them specifically for mining. So I have a lot of relationships up there. So with the Tetlin tribe, we made a decision early on after making the discovery that we said, let's not go down the typical path of trying to do all this ourselves. It wasn't big enough for a major company to want to get involved with. Or if they did, it was an exploration business agreement that was beneficial to the major and not very beneficial to Contango stockholders. So we decided, instead of going down the path of a feasibility study and permitting a tailings facility and all that, to partner with Kinross, who had a fully operating mill at Fort Knox, and it was an underutilized mill, so we knew there was capacity in it. So we entered into a 70-30 joint venture with Kinross to process the ore at the Kinross mill. That alleviated spending a huge amount of capital building your own. It shaved off many years of frustrating permitting, which, if you're familiar with permitting in the United States, it's not a fun process, and it's not a timely process. It can take, permitting a tailings facility, you can count on it taking 5 years, and it can take a lot longer. So by partnering with Kinross, we reduced our capital outflow, we reduced the timeline to get in production. Yes, we had to give up some of the ore body, to do that. But now we're in a position, fast forward, that was in September 2020. The feasibility study's done. The project is fully permitted. It was a simple project to permit because, again, we didn't permit a mill, a tailings facility, and a power plant. Just basically a quarry operation on top of a hill, so not a lot of water to deal with, so simple. And so fast forward, we've been mining since last August 2023. We've been stockpiling the ore at Manh Choh site, and in November of 2023, we started hauling ore up to the Fort Knox mill, building the stockpile there. Mill modifications at Fort Knox to accommodate the much higher grade ore from Manh Choh. It's basically 10 times the grade of the average Fort Knox mill grade material. Those are just wrapping up now. They're commissioning the new circuits related mostly to all the ingredients that go into extracting the gold, the cyanide, the cement, and the carbon, etc. So all that's being commissioned, and we plan to have first gold poured in July. So that means cash flow starts coming back towards us rather than just out the door. We've got a $70 million line of credit with ING and Macquarie, and we're probably going to borrow a little shy of 60 on that with the last cash call that comes in the month of June. So by July, we're producing gold. So it's a good, strong position for us to be in a market that still seems a bit hesitant to really support junior exploration. So it's for us, we're in a strong position.
So, in effect, by fall, that one will be under your belt, so to speak. And then you have I guess you have exploration upside there, but you also have a second asset at Lucky Shot. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so just at Manh Choh, just to finish off, because we're talking about exploration, it's a huge property. It's 685,000 acres of land leased from the Tetlin tribe, so it's private land. So it's an ideal place to look for more. Obviously, the old adage, the best place to look for is next to the head frame. So we have a $4.7 million program that actually just got underway this week at Manh Choh. It's a joint venture funded program. So that's 4.7 million on a 100% basis. And that's basically Minex. It's just, drilling along trend of where the known mineralization is. We defined the ore body at the top of the hill because it was the simplest place to get, drill access. As you go down the hill and into the drainages, it gets harder and harder to drill. Again, this is early on, was exploration supported by helicopters. So, you tend to do the easy stuff first. And so we'll get that done. Meanwhile, our second project is called Lucky Shot. It's located just north of Anchorage. You can drive a minivan up to the portal. It was a mine that produced 250,000 ounces of 40 gram per ton gold, very high grade. It was selectively mined and hand cobbed like they used to do in the day. This was operated from 1928 to 1942. President Roosevelt used the War Act to shut down all gold mining in the United States. A lot of people forget that, but that's a fact. And so this mine was shut down administratively. It wasn't because it ran out of ore, or hit a fault, or too much water. So all we've done is basically refurbished the underground and gotten underneath the ore body and the footwall. And the next step is, and we're fully permitted for mining. We've built a drift in the footwall, parallel to the footwall. We're just going to drill the heck out of it. And then there's some more surface drilling on we call the Coleman segment of the Lucky Shot vein. It's the same vein, it's just offset a little bit by a fault. And so we're up on top of the ridge there, drilling the down plunge projection of the ore chute down to the same level that we're planning to access the ore body that we have accessed the ore body for Lucky Shot. So that'll form our main haulage level, and the idea is to outline 400,000 or 500,000 ounces with just more drilling. Again, the same plan, direct shipping ore. This was our resource for the 100,000 ounces that we've already outlined is 15 grams per ton. So we ship that up to the Fort Knox mill. We have the advantage at Lucky Shot. We're about 20 miles from the railhead there, so we can rail it up to Fairbanks, and then it's a short truck ride up the hill to the Fort Knox mill. So it's a good follow-on for what we've done at Manh Choh, and we like that model. We think it's a very viable model. Don't build tailings facilities if you don't need to.
And then finally, Rick, very recently you announced a proposed amalgamation with HighGold, where I was also a shareholder. Tell me something about their assets and the proposed amalgamation.
Well, it fits our MO just perfectly. It's a high grade deposit. It's near infrastructure, and near infrastructure being on the water in terms of from a mine development standpoint. And it's a simple ore body in that it is good grade. It's on private land owned by the SERI Alaska Native Corporation. Cook Inlet Regional Inc. is referred to as SERI. They're one of the regional Alaska Native corporations. They selected the land specifically for mining. So again, private land, relatively easy to permit, especially for not building a tailings facility again. So we kind of think it's a nice third leg of the stool. Fits well with our overall business plan of identifying properties where you have good enough grade and you have good enough access to infrastructure, and it's a relatively simple ore body to mine and permit specifically. So again, being on private land fits that well. And at HighGold, or at the JT property, you build a tunnel underneath in the footwall of the zone, much like we've done at Lucky Shot, and now you can use that as your main haulage level, as well as drilling exploration holes further down dip and doing the infill drilling that you need to do to complete a feasibility level plan. Again, the plan being not to build a mill and a tailings facility and a power plant at a remote site, but just to develop a mine, load it onto a barge, and take it to a place to process. And we've identified half a dozen places that this ore could go to and be processed in a relatively short amount of time, given its location in North America.
And in the very brief amount of time we have left, could you talk to us about the exploration upside at HighGold?
Yeah, so this is a real barn burner of a property package. Against private land. Last year, the HighGold did an MT survey, and it outlines these huge alteration zones. This is similar to SK Creek in that it's a sort of a high-level VMS style deposit, very high sulfidation. You're right at the rock-water interface underneath, probably in a back arc type setting. So you're in porphyry country. It's high sulfidation. You know there's a porphyry driving this system. This happens to be gotten all the way up towards the surface, and the gold basically doesn't have anywhere else to go. So that's why it's a high-grade deposit right near the rock-water surface. Lots and lots of exploration upside here. Right on the JT property prospect itself, there's 1 million ounces outlined, but the down dip and a long lateral extension is open. You just can't drill it from the surface because the mountain goes very, very high, very quickly. So best thing to do is get underground, again, like we've done at Lucky Shot. Get your underground development in. Now you're all set up for mining. You're permitted for mining, and just get the drilling done and outline your body and find your business partner to process the ore.
Rick, we urge our attendees to be in direct contact with the exhibitors, either before the conference or during the conference. Part of the process of this interview is to allow our attendees to identify those exhibitors that they would like to contact. Who at Contango should our attendees contact, and how may they reach this person?
Yeah, please contact me. I love talking with shareholders. My email's Rick Van, RickVann, 2 N's, at Contango.com. Contangoore.com, or you can go to our website and just simply type in info at Contango, or you push on that button, and all those emails, questions will come to me directly. And I like to say, I like talking with shareholders, so don't feel like you're putting any pressure on me. I love doing that. I love this business and love what we do. So.
Rick, thank you for a couple of decades of hard work on behalf of mining investors, myself included. Thank you, too, for your ongoing support of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium. It'll be a pleasure to have you down in Boca.
I'm looking forward to it, Rick, and always good to see you. And it'll be a good time to be down in Florida that time of year.